Today was a fine day. When I woke up, I went to the kitchen and made some homemade Pop Tarts from some leftover crust that I had made about a week and a half prior. I wanted to try the recipe with an adjusted temperature and time and a new filling raspberry organic jelly with sugar instead of corn syrup. Overall, the results were decent, but overall, meh for me personally. I don't know, I guess I'm just not good at making these types of pastries. I'm sure if I really applied myself, I would find a way to make something that I really dig, but I think I'll just stick with cookies for now. Now, I watched the new Digital Foundry video on the Death Stranding 2 video game. It looked quite impressive, visually speaking. Some of the best acting in a video game I have ever seen. The faces are extremely lifelike and very convincing. Genuinely looks like a person instead of a fake version of a person in some instances. Not all, but some. I don't think we're that close to game graphics looking that convincing until at least one more generation from now. But we'll see. After that, I decided to do some deep breath work, and I got really into it. And after my session, I went into my room and I continued work on my YouTube channel. I tried to find a new direction to go with this channel. Like, maybe I should have two channels. One where I do live streaming of my work, and then the other one where I just post the official finished work. That way, I can sort of make new content while at the same time learning the craft and building better quality that will be released on the other channel. Like one's the training grounds and one's the real official like full fat experience. It would be like behind the scenes special features, and then you get to see the movie. Is what I was thinking. Not even sure people know what special features are nowadays because that was such a DVD era thing. But anyways, I digress. However, when I tried to make the second special feature channel where I basically would record myself trying to come up with ideas and ways for making my YouTube channel work, I was asked by Google to verify if I was a real person and not a bot trying to make another YouTube channel by scanning my face and sending it to Google. And then they said, all right, you have to wait 24 hours before you can post anything on this new channel. And I was like, dang, well, that sucks. So instead, I had to redirect my energy to simply just learning what makes a good YouTube video. And what I discovered was that it needs to be clear what your point is. What are you trying to convey? And you need to communicate that through the thumbnail, the description, and the title. And you need to address everything that you promised through the thumbnail within the first 30 seconds in an impactful, interesting way that will hook the viewer in and get them to want to watch the rest of the video. So I'm taking all of these ideas and I'm trying to write them down to help give me some kind of direction on where I'm going to take this channel Brain Jam, because I've heard at the end of the day the best thing you could do is to just make stuff and then hope it works out. But I feel like I'm still going to make the stuff, but I want a good plan of attack. I want good direction. I want to know where I'm going. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm running in the dark with a wet match, unprepared for any challenges that lay ahead before me. So, I'm basically scouting for little ideas, things to incorporate in the video, like what's the video about, like create that theme, maybe write a script, or maybe not write a script, but at least some kind of a structure so the person who decides to click on the video knows where it's going, and that makes them want to see, well, what's going to happen next. My brain hates unanswered questions. I want to know what's the next chapter in this story. So, and the thing is, you know, ironically, my YouTube channel is about me basically talking about my day, right? But the thing is, with a real YouTube channel, or maybe not real, maybe that's a poor way of putting it, but a YouTube channel where your focus is addressing something like that's either practical or entertainment, or, you know, things like that, you need to make it relevant to the topic you're addressing. And that basically means don't talk about, like, ooh man, I want to make this video, but then my cat decided to jump on my head and I had to get him out. But then when I got him off of my head, he wouldn't leave. He just kept on clinging to my, like, no one wants to hear that preamble. People just want to click on the video to find out how to, I don't know, draw a cat or something, you know? But yeah, basically keep things concise, keep things straightforward, know your audience, know what they would want, by trying to think about what you would want if you were watching the video as an audience member. So yeah, that's basically the gist. And I was making notes and I was drawing out little sketched thumbnails on my computer and just doing a good idea jam. And then afterwards, my mom arrived from work, and of course, she was ready to get me involved in various duties that we had to get done around the house. Oh, of course, before that, I did vacuum the floor before she arrived. But anyways, she wanted to go to the grocery store, pick up some food, so we did that. My eldest sister will be arriving tomorrow. Sadly, I won't be able to be around until late in the afternoon and late at night because I go to work tomorrow from 12 to 9. Had I had known that my sister was going to be here tomorrow, I would have 100% called that day off preemptively 2 weeks ahead of time, because the whole thing with how my job works is if you want a particular day off, you need to schedule that way ahead of time, so that way they know to block off that day in your schedule. So yeah, I wasn't given the heads up as soon as I needed, so yeah, sadly I'm gonna be missing that day with my sister. Oh well, because my mom and my other, all three of my sisters and my sister's boyfriend will be going to the beach and having fun at the tide pools while I'm working. But yeah, that's what happens when you don't communicate or plan things out ahead of time. You end up missing out on cool events, and yeah, that's just how it be. But anyways, yeah, but my mom was talking with my sister, and I said hi, and she and her boyfriend were driving here, and she's actually already here, and yeah, we're gonna have a great time. Wish I could be there though, but I didn't know to call out that day, so it's a shame, real big shame. Anyways, we're going to move on to, as soon as we arrived back from the grocery store and got all the food in, I wrote a check for my portion of the groceries. And then I thought it would be a great idea to work on smashing cardboard boxes that carried those cupboards that me and my mom put together and put those in the blue trash can, as well as cut the pieces of wood that were sticking out of the black trash can, and throw those away because Tuesday's trash day, so we need to make sure everything is ready to go so we aren't stuck with trash for another week. And then, of course, we had to wrap the mattress up, so that way that could be thrown out by the trashman as well. Now, after we did that, my mom wanted to get pavers, the pavers she got from yesterday, and give them a good clean and then put a sealant over them so that way they would be ready to go for being put on the wall that we are putting together. So I helped her out with that. And then immediately after, I got some ice cream and watched a Nintendo Switch retrospective. And afterwards, I was listening to a silly SpongeBob fan theory video about the episode SB219 and about how, like, SpongeBob and Patrick were already well aware that Squidward would invent jellyfishing, so that's why they didn't interfere with when Squidward got frozen in the freezer at the Krusty Krab. It's honestly a ridiculous theory. I just think it's a goofy, silly cartoon that the writers just, came up with silly, dumb, fun jokes and put them in there and, to make as funny of a story as they could. But I guess some people just really want to dive deep into certain childhood memorabilia. It was an interesting video, but overall, pretty silly. And then I took my vitamins, I brushed my teeth, and I recorded this video. And I forgot to mention, one of the first things I watched when I woke up in the morning was a Invader Zim reanimated video that was based on the episode Zim Eats Waffles, which when I was a kid, that was probably my favorite episode of that show because of just how unusual and just silly and funny it was. Like, the fact there's this, nerd kid who wants to prove this guy's an alien, and every time he tries, like, he ends up being made a fool of himself, even though, like, crazy stuff happens, and he's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, someone look at this, and then ultimately it's just he keeps on, like, being made a fool of to no fault of his own. He just has really bad timing. It's just a really funny episode, and I remember just rewatching that over and over again as a kid because I just thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And it was really cool revisiting that episode. Normally with those reanimated projects, they get fan voice actors to voice the characters instead of using audio from the episode, because a lot of people are scared that, like, oh no, copyright's gonna gut this episode or this tribute out, and it won't be seen anymore. That ironically didn't work for that SpongeBob reanimated movie, which I thought was very strange because, like, the people who did that, like, completely redid the film from scratch, including the voice acting. So I think that the fact that Paramount decided to go after it, even though, it was like a fan tribute and it was like under fair use because it was like redoing it in a unique, like, style with each artist, was just crazy. Viacom can be so cruel sometimes. I don't know if they're going to go after the Zim episode, because Zim's one of those shows that, while yes, has its fans, including myself, just never really reached that massive popularity that SpongeBob did. Probably because of how just unhinged the show is, which is the reason I love it, by the way, because of how crazy that show just ends up being and all the off the wall ideas. But for a lot of people, they just think it's like obnoxious or annoying or stupid. But I don't know, I think it's hilarious. Um, but yeah, watched that and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. I think I've said that like at least 10 times now. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much my day. My overall feeling about it was that, well, there was some good steps made in some good directions. My frame of mind was leaning more towards the, like, again, brain foggy feel. Like I felt kind of like, ugh, I can't believe I'm gotta trudge along again another day, like, which is weird because, like, shouldn't I be grateful that I'm getting like another day of life to grow and develop? But instead, like, I was feeling like lethargic and negative again, which is very odd. I wonder why. Probably because I need to spend more time developing myself instead and less time watching others, like, develop. um Gotta take my life into my own hands. Yeah. Well, tomorrow's another awesome day and I can't wait to experience it. See y'all in the next one. Goodbye.